I was just saying maybe you're gonna start with a quick opening statement on Cal this past weekend, and then looking ahead to this week against UCLA.
Yeah, Cal, to watch the series from home was difficult because I just want to be there with them, but totally trusted in this team and this coaching staff that they would find a way to get it done, which they did. I loved our fight. You could tell that there was no lose mentality. We were going to find a way to win game 2, game 3. Absolutely loved our crowd. Like, I cannot wait to be here and get to experience that personally for myself, because I still have yet to experience that. But I could hear our crowd roaring through the TV. I could hear the rumble of the stands. Just looked like it was an unbelievable atmosphere for a Pac-12 series.
James?
Well, Missy, good to see that you're back, and it was nothing more than just a weekend of inconvenience, relatively speaking. If you could speak to, I realize you weren't there physically, but it seemed like also a weekend where not just the players on the field, but that Tara and Brooke in particular really were beyond their years and took part and filled some roles that were enormous. And you've spoken about how Paige and some players in your past, you thought they'd be coaches in the future. I know catchers and pitchers generally fill that role. What you saw from Tara and Brooke in that way, and I've probably seen it in past weekends, but it was just more present because we were there physically in that capacity.
Yeah, I feel like it confirmed or solidified what I already knew about them. But I think what they did with Coach Reagan and filling in my spot for me not to be able to be there, and the same composure you see them have on the mound or behind the plate, and to see them have that type of composure with working with Coach Reagan on calling the game, I'm not surprised. I'm not. I loved it. And that's what I really love about this team, is that it's just a total team effort. Everybody's so passionate and so bought in and doing whatever it's going to take for us to get a win. And you could just see our team, our coaches, everybody like elevate. So still like frustrating to watch sitting on my couch, but to be able to sit on my couch and go, you know what, these guys are good. Like, to me, it's not one person runs this. Like, if we're a well-oiled machine and one person is gone, that's fine. Somebody else steps in. And I think what you really got to see this past weekend is that we've been doing this all year. We haven't had our full roster all year. And so it just, unfortunately, it was my turn.
Chris?
Coach, speaking to that, any ability to tell us who's going to be available this weekend? Who's still injured, who's not going to be available?
I'm hoping, I still don't know yet. It's like we'll have a better idea right before the weekend, but we're really close with a couple of them. I think today and tomorrow are going to be big days for us. So, but that list is looking a lot better. I mean, we had, people that were sidelined, and they, we should be back on track. So just waiting to hear from a couple of them. Sinicki, you'll see back in the lineup for sure. Just still waiting on status on a couple others.
James?
Yeah, I was going to follow on that, Missy. With Paige back in uniform on Sunday, I figured she was in good spot. But with Tara, since she lost the cast the final 2 days, I know she's still guarding the hand. But when she comes back, will it be in a DP capacity first, or do you want her when she's back to be full go to where she can be behind the plate as well?
Yeah. Those are the things that we're still trying to figure out, is exactly what it'll be and what it'll look like. So, but we are very close. Like, I know I kind of keep saying that, but we are real close. Those are the little details that we're trying to sort out. But can't wait to have her back, but just thrilled with what Val has done. I mean, behind the plate, and how she's handled our pitchers and how she's handled herself at the plate. So to get Tara back and those two working together will be really big for us.
Chris?
Coach, just kind of as an aside, did you forget to tell the team that they need 2 outs before they start their rallies? Because they did that one in the 6th inning with only 1 out.
I know. I guess I did. This to me is what's impressive. We're still figuring things out, and that's what you do all year as you go through these different series and figure things out. But the one thing that I know about this team is we are never, ever out of a ball game. And would we like to start things a little sooner, or maybe with no outs versus 2 outs? But these guys know how to put runs on the board, and they know how to do it late in the game. And I think that is a great quality for a team to have. Lots of times you're down and you just think, could easily go, well, we're out of this. This group never, ever thinks they're out of it. They expect to win every game, regardless of what it may look like.
James?
Less specifically about UCLA, Missy, and more to kind of the entirety of the month ahead. I know you talked before about like you all want the Pac-12, the whole league, to be in the postseason, and right now, if it ended today, you all would be. That's for sure. You could argue statistically that it's either you, Florida, I think either LSU or Bama. Like there's basically only 2 or 3 teams in the country right now who have schedules as daunting as what yours is in April. And you have 3 top 25s and 5 top 40s. How you appreciate the gravity of what that opportunity is without making more of it than, oh, this could be so daunting, you can be overwhelmed. You don't have a group that seems like overwhelmed in that spot, but to a young team, it would be. But you do have a mix like that. So how do you kind of enter this gauntlet that will be April, and what the message is beyond just the game to a game or a weekend to a weekend?
Honestly, I think this is typical of what we deal with every year in the Pac. It's like you go from one weekend to the next, like it doesn't get easy. And I think over the years, this team has understood that. We don't really get caught up in the big picture. We really stay small and focus on one game at a time and go from there. So, but in order for us to do what we need to do, this is the type of schedule that we need to play and to win. To me, it's playing the schedule and getting the outcomes that we want that are going to allow us to compete for a Pac-12 championship. And on top of that, prepare us to deal with what's next in postseason. So I think our team just understands that this is what goes along with with the things that we want to accomplish. We've got to be able to handle an April, like what we have scheduled. We need to be able to handle it. And I'm confident in this team. I love what this team's doing right now. At times, have it looked a little ugly? Sure. Times it's looked pretty, for sure. But the most important thing is that we find a way to get it done. And that's what this team's been doing.
Chris?
Coach, kind of segueing off of that a bit, but you talked last week about softball being a game of failures, and you have to be able to flush it when that happens. It couldn't have been a better epitome of that statement than the Friday game versus the rest of the weekend. But could you just, from being afar, what that was like seeing the team? I mean, it's your team, but you weren't there physically to be able to tell them what to do. Could you just speak a little bit about what you saw and how you felt about them being able to do that?
I just think it was out of character for us. I just, with this team, the one thing that I know is anytime we've challenged them this year, every time we challenge them, they always answer. They have a great response. I think what could be nerve-wracking for a coach is that if you have your team and you're struggling and you challenge them and they don't respond. And what comforts me is knowing that this team knows how to respond. And I just think as you go throughout the year, there's going to be some, bumps that we have. And to me, it's how quickly can you recover? We're not going to be flawless through the whole year. We're going to have some bumps. So how do we recover for those bumps and let that go and get ready for what's next? And I think that's what they've done a really good job of.
One more question, Chris.
Then Coach, kind of a 2-part, but I was able to watch the games this weekend for UCLA, and Ferrimo and Acevedo, really, really good pitchers. Ferrimo particularly pitching up, so her rise ball. How do you keep the team so that they're not chasing that rise ball, getting the pitches they want? And then just more in general, what are the goals or challenges that you've given the team for this coming weekend? What are your expectations or things you'd like to see out of them?
I think when you're in the Pac, that your opportunities are small, and that when you get opportunity, whether it's on offense or defense, On the mound, you've got to be able to lock in, especially against a team like UCLA. They've got a great pitching staff. They've got a great lineup. They know how to play defense, but opportunities are going to show up for us. And it's what do we do with those opportunities? Because you're going to only get so many of them. And I think our team understands that. So it's about swinging at pitches in the zone and not allowing their staff to take us out of the zone. It's about making the plays on defense, I think, for both teams, and our pitchers giving us an opportunity to win. But I just think the opportunities are small, and that's how it is in the pack. That's how it's going to be in the postseason. And as you continue to go on. So it's understanding, knowing how to play and loving that, not going, oh, well, I only get one opportunity, let's go to compete. That's what the pack is all about, playing and competing at a high level. So I think this group's ready to go, and we're excited to get out there.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Good luck this week.
Okay. Thanks, you guys.